Hello everyone. We saw in the previous class that a non-sinusoidal periodic function can be represented by a Fourier series. So if I have sinusoidal, then that is not a problem. And even if I have periodic non-sinusoidal function, so I have periodic non-sinusoidal functions, then I can represent this particular function in form of Fourier series. And in order to represent that in terms of Fourier series, we have observed that this from periodic non-sinusoidal function to Fourier series is possible provided I have certain condition that has been satisfied, and we have seen that condition is nothing but Dirichlet conditions. So four conditions we have seen in the during the definition of Fourier series. Now we have already seen that main motivation to convert for this particular conversion means conversion of periodic non-sinusoidal function to the Fourier series to apply the one of the most important tool we are telling, and that particular tool we are talking about that somehow I want to convert that signal from time domain to frequency domain. So here also whenever we are representing this in terms of the Fourier series, and after that after representing this into Fourier series, I have to apply here some kind of transformation, and after that I will come to the frequency domain. So somehow I have already explored about that transformation. So even if I have non-sinusoidal signal, I can able to apply the standard technique whatever we have learned during the frequency domain. Now question is that what happens a function is not periodic, because in order to apply the Fourier series, this is the necessary condition that whatever function I am going to consider, that should be periodic. Otherwise, we cannot able to represent non-sinusoidal signal in form of infinite series where sinusoidal functions are involved. Due to that reason, periodicity is necessary. But in practical situation, we have many non-periodic functions, such as you can take simple example like we are frequently using this. So suppose that if I have unit step function, or we have exponential function, so these functions are frequently useful, and if you see these functions, then both are non-periodic in nature. So these functions are non-periodic. So our remark is like these functions are basically example of non-periodic functions. And we have several other examples. So basically I'm not going to discuss that example, but since you know the definition, so it is possible to check that some signal is periodic or not. Now question is that when these kind of signals are involved, then how basically I will proceed towards the final response of the system. So I have RLC network. So again I have linear network, and I have AC signal that is of form of some exponential function, exponentially time varying function, or some other class of function which is not periodic. Then how to calculate the response? So in today's class we are going to see that if I have some kind of non-periodic function, then there exists one transformation, and name of that transformation is called the Fourier transformation. Again, that is given by the Fourier, and main idea of this transformation, that is called Fourier transform. And using this transform, it is possible to convert signal from time domain to the frequency domain, even if that signal is not periodic. So using Fourier transformation, again I can convert time domain to frequency domain, and beauty involved here is that function may or may not be periodic. Function or may not be periodic. So we are getting extra flexibility if I apply this kind of transformation, and that is called Fourier transform. So now let us try to see that how to define Fourier transform. So in order to define Fourier transform, again I am going to take the help of the Fourier series. So before going to the formal definition of Fourier transform, let us try to see that form of the Fourier transform. The Fourier transform is again same like one kind of integral transform. So in previous lectures we have already seen that Laplace transform is also one kind of integral transform. So basically I'm going to write that Fourier transform is an integral transform, means some integration is involved. Transform like the Laplace. And when I am going to close this part of the lecture, then I will tell you the some difference and similarity between the Laplace transform and Fourier transform. And again, this transform means Fourier transform is very much useful in communication system, digital signal processing, and most of time we are using Fourier transform where basically it is not possible to apply the Laplace transform. It is possible to show that some signal where Laplace transform is not possible, but we can apply the Fourier transform. So we can also able to interpret that Fourier transform is another useful tool whenever if I found that Laplace transform is not applicable, then I can use the Fourier transform. And whatever Laplace transform we have explored in engineering lecture, most of time we are integrating from t equal to 0 minus to infinity. It means that it is only able to handle the input after t greater than 0, but using Fourier transform, it is possible to show that one can handle the circuit before t less than 0. So that is the another flexibility in terms of the engineering definition. So now let us come to the definition of the Fourier transform. So let us start like this. Suppose that I want to find the Fourier transform of a non-periodic function, that is pt. So here you can see that I have drawn this function, and this function is only appear for 0 to t, and after that I am assuming that the response of this particular function is 0 beyond this. So this function is just present between 0 to t, and this function has some amplitude a. So obviously this is non-periodic function. Now in order to see this non-periodic function as some special case of periodic function, what I am going to do, I am going to add some kind of extra signal in this particular non-periodic function. So you can see that after every, here I have 0 to t, and after t, what I am going to do, now I am going to add t plus tau here, and similarly here in this side also, if I will add minus t minus tau, then, and if I continue this process till the infinity in this domain and in this part and in this part also, then whatever signal, previous signal, that is converted into periodic function. So non-periodic function is converted into periodic function if you repeat that non-periodic function for the several time. So I can also interpret that this particular non-periodic function means whatever I have drawn in the above figure. So you can again come to this. So this is non-periodic, and after that from non-periodic to period, I will come to some kind of periodic function and similar kind of nature. So what I am telling that if period, that is t tending towards infinity, so if you increase this t to very large value, means infinitely large value, then you can see that what happens, this particular pulse, means second pulse, is moved towards infinity plus infinity, and this negative pulse will move towards the minus infinity, and then this periodic function has same appearance than the non-periodic function. So in this way I can able to interpret the non-periodic function. So non-periodic function means I can assume that some kind of periodic function where period is very high or period is particularly infinity, and whatever property of the non-periodic function, that is going to remain the same. So now we are just playing with the period. So whenever we are doing this, then try to understand that what is effect if I am going to increase the period. And if you understood this effect, then it is possible to define the Fourier transform. So in order to do that, I have to consider some specific signal, and means a specific period of the specific, because I am telling that period is practically infinity. So we have to see that if I am going to increase the period, then what is the effect. So for that I have to consider some amplitude. So I am going to consider the amplitude of that is 10, and tau whatever the occurrence of the signal that is for 0.2 second. So if you see the behavior of this signal, so I have again the same pulse. Now tau is 0.2. So whatever the shape of the pulse, that is exactly the same as the periodic one, but here amplitude I have given some finite amplitude and that value is 10, and here period is 1. So at that time, if you see the the amplitude response, so whenever we have periodic signal, then I can apply the here the Fourier series, and after that from Fourier series I can plot the amplitude with respect to the frequency. So I have amplitude versus frequency response, and here this is the response. Now what we are doing, I am going to increase the period t equal to 2. So what you can do whenever you have this kind of signal, now you understood that how to calculate the Fourier series, then you can calculate the Fourier series, and after that you are able to verify that the amplitude versus frequency plot is represented like this. Now what you can do, you can increase this period t equal to 2 seconds. Initially t equal to 1 second means this particular shape of waveform is going to occur after every 1 second. Now I am going to take after every 2 seconds. Then you can see that what happens, that the amplitude versus frequency plot is almost remains the same. However, this initially this value is 2, now this become 1. Now again what you can do, you can increase this period t by 10, and again you can see that response remains from -5 to 5. So this is our frequency, and whatever amplitude, now that is going to decrease by 0.2. So by calculating the Fourier series, you are able to verify this kind of things. So what is our observation? So after increasing the t, I have retained same kind of observation here. First, one can notice that the general shape of a spectrum remains the same. So shape is not going to disturb, and frequency at which the envelope first becomes 0, that is again remains the same. So from above 3 figure you can see that I have already told you that shape is almost same, and occurrence of 0, here you can see that remains the same everywhere, means here at this point amplitude becomes 0, so here also amplitude becomes 0, and here also amplitude that is equal to 0. So same kind of observation I have retained in the first point. However, the amplitude of the spectrum, means this plot whatever we are plotting from amplitude versus frequency, that is called a spectrum. So the amplitude of the spectrum and the spacing between the adjacent component, both are going to decrease. So what we have observed, that as we are going to increase the time period, somehow frequency, by increasing this, so frequency f is 1 by t, so somehow that is going to become more closer. But in this way what happens, number of harmonic is going to increase, means we are talking in terms of the multiplication of the fundamental frequency. So if we are increasing the time period, then number of the multiplication of the fundamental frequency, that is going to increase. So due to that reason, if you see the amplitude spectrum at, again come to the previous figure, and if you see the spectrum at t equal to 1, t equal to 2 and t equal to 10, then what we have observed, that spectrum become more dense at the t equal to t equal to 10. So that kind of observation we have obtained. Thus, over a range of frequency, the sum of amplitude of the harmonic remains almost constant. So if you add the all harmonic, then it is possible to show that approximate sum is almost constant. So sum is not going to affect it if you are increasing the time period of the signal. And third point is the total strength we are talking about, or energy of the component within a band must remain unchanged. The amplitude of harmonic must decrease as t increase, because we know that t f equal to 1 by t, I have already told you. So f or omega decreases, so discrete spectrum ultimately become continuous due to this effect that will look like. So what we have observed, that if we are going to increase the t, then somehow the total energy, that is remains unchanged, that after that sum of the all component also, that is remains constant. Whatever form of a spectrum, that is going to remains the same. Due to that reason, now we are using these kind of observation. I am going to derive the Fourier transform from the Fourier series, and in Fourier series I am going to allow the time period to infinity, because almost everything that is going to remain the same. So even if I will interpret some non-periodic signal as a periodic signal with t equal to infinity, then frequency domain response is not going to deviate much. Due to that reason, it is possible to allow that particular t equal to very high. So I am going to, in order to define the connection between periodic and non-periodic signal, I am going to take advantage of the exponential form of Fourier series. So let us try to see the connection between non-periodic and its periodic, because I have already told you that from non-periodic function I am going to create the periodic counterpart. So in order to understand this connection, I am first assuming that some signal is periodic, so I can define the Fourier series. So I am going to take the exponential form of Fourier series, and this is the one of the compact representation we have already discussed in the previous class, and somehow I have discussed because I am willing to develop the Fourier transform. So for periodic function I am able to write like this: summation from n equal to minus infinity to n equal to plus infinity, and Cn e power jn omega 0 into t. That is exponential Fourier series, where I can able to generate the coefficient, Fourier coefficient, like this 1 by t, where the periodicity of the signal ft is t. And I have already told you that either you can do integration from 0 to t or minus t by 2 to t by 2. This integral remains the same. Due to that reason, I am able to write like this: minus j n omega 0 t into dt. So in this way, I am able to generate the Fourier series. And in this particular series, if you see this, then what we have observed, that the fundamental frequency is omega 0, that is 2 pi by t, because I have already assumed that whatever signal I am going to consider, that is periodic one, and periodicity of that particular signal is t, and the spacing between adjacent harmonic. So we are telling n is, I can define like this, that is n plus 1 omega 0 minus n omega 0. So that is omega 0, and again that is 2 pi by t. And now what I am going to do, I am going to substitute the value of Cn in the main Fourier series. So that is from n equal to minus infinity to plus infinity, and after that I have 1 by t, integral from minus t by 2 to t by 2, and ft e power minus j n omega 0 t dt, and after that I have e power j n omega 0 into t. And from this integral, I am also able to write like this: summation n equal to minus infinity to plus infinity, and in place of t, I am going to now put delta omega by 2 pi, and integral from t by 2 to t by 2, and this is ft e power minus j n omega 0 t into dt, and after that I have e power j n omega 0 t. And I can also able to write the further mathematical simplification, and we are able to understand that why basically we are doing this. And here I have minus infinity to plus infinity, and here I have minus t by 2 to t by 2 ft e power minus j n omega 0 t into dt, and here I am going to collect this delta omega, because that is in this side, then I can write like this, e power j n omega 0 t. So I have just rearranged it. And now what I am telling, that this is for periodic function. Now from this periodic function, which is counterpart of the non-periodic function, so in order to recover that non-periodic function, now I am going to allow that t is tending towards infinity. So if we let t tending towards infinity, the summation is converted into the integration, and that delta omega is now going to, this finite delta omega is going to become the increment. So the incremental spacing delta omega, that becomes the differential separation, and that differential separation I am going to represent by d omega, and the discrete harmonic frequency, that is n omega, it is going to becomes a continuous frequency, and that is omega. Thus, as t tending towards infinity, I can again, now let us come and do these kind of simplification. As we are allowing t tending towards infinity, then basically I am going to do this kind of operation. So basically I am allowing this summation minus infinity to plus infinity, and that is equivalent to continuous summation, and continuous summation is nothing but integral. After that I am going to allow delta omega to the d omega, and n omega 0 equal to omega, that discrete frequency. So as t tending towards infinity, I have this kind of modification that I am going to do in the periodic Fourier series, exponential Fourier series, and after that we are going to generate that function ft, that is 1 by 2 pi, and integration from minus infinity to plus infinity, and again I have from minus infinity to plus infinity. It is very easy to verify. E power j, now in place of n omega I have just omega, so I am going to write that kind of things here. So j minus j omega t into dt, and after that I have e j omega t into d omega. So you can see that whatever I have one term which I have written in bracket, and basically this term is nothing but this is called the Fourier transform, and idea is exactly same in case of phasor, that we are dropping the e power j omega t term, time domain term, then whatever things that is remaining. So basically now Fourier transform, and I am going to represent that Fourier transform by f omega. So that is the Fourier transform of this signal called ft. So we are defined like this. So this is just the definition, and same as the phasor, we are telling that whenever we are defining, then something we are dropping, but basically that is present. So like that. So this is the definition of the Fourier transform. So in this way, from the exponential Fourier series, one can develop the definition of the Fourier transform, and this is this whatever this symbol. So this symbol have also some name, and we are telling this symbol as a, this particular symbol is called Fourier transform operator. And again, from here we can able to see that Fourier transform is nothing but a integral transform, because here integral is involved, of ft from the time domain to the frequency domain. So again, and we have already done this kind of remark when we have started the lecture. And here you can see that f omega is a complex function, and whenever we have complex quantity, then we have amplitude as well as phase. So again, due to the complex function, I have two spectrum. One spectrum is amplitude spectrum, and after, and we have phase spectrum. So f omega is a complex function because this is the complex integral, and it has the magnitude, and again it has the phase. So whenever we are talking about the magnitude, then this is called the amplitude spectrum, and if I talk phase with respect to frequency, then this is called phase spectrum. So most of time whenever we are doing Fourier transform, at that time we have to draw the phase spectrum as well as the amplitude spectrum. Due to that reason, you have to become clear with respect to the terminology. What basically we are telling, that if I have some signal ft, then after doing the Fourier transform, I will get some kind of complex number. So just I have to plot the complex number with respect to the frequency. And how to do? We have to plot in two separate way. One is magnitude plot and another is the phase plot. And now again, whenever we are coming from time domain to frequency domain, I have already told you that again we have to come back to the original one. And in order to do that, same like in Laplace transform, we have seen inverse Laplace transform. So here again I have the idea of inverse Fourier transform. Fourier transform. And if you see the definition of this, then I can denote this like this ft, and here again inverse operator of this I am going to apply on the frequency domain. So I will get this kind of integral f omega e power j omega t into d omega, and it is very easy to guess. So I am not going to discuss that how basically we are obtaining the inverse Fourier transform from the main Fourier transform. So I have, whenever we are performing the Fourier transform, at that time we have two pairs. So basically I have some function in time domain ft. So from time domain I can move to the frequency domain, that is f omega, and vice versa it is also possible. That is, and that reverse from f omega to ft one can do from the whatever transform, inverse Fourier transform we have defined. From using that one can do. Now one of the most important thing is that whenever we are defining any transform, at that time we have to talk about the existence. So let us come to the existence part. So what we have observed that basically Fourier transform f omega is the ft integral from minus infinity to plus infinity e power minus j omega t into dt. In this way we have represented the Fourier transform. This is our Fourier transform, and it is pretty easy to remember. What you can do, if you know, or if you understand the development of Laplace transform, at that time e power minus st, in place of s you can write sigma plus j omega. Now just put sigma equal to 0, then you are able to recover this Fourier transform. So it is not very difficult to get the formula of the Fourier transform, and already you have understood the motivation how basically we are getting this formula. So now again, whatever condition for existence of the Laplace transform, almost same kind of existence condition comes into picture here. But in case of Laplace transform, we are basically integrating from 0 to infinity for engineering problem. But here I have from minus infinity to plus infinity. So I am going to write that sufficient condition. So a, and I have already told you that whatever condition we are writing most of time, that is sufficient, but not necessary. Means even if this condition is not satisfied, then also in some case there exists a Fourier transform. That is the meaning of the sufficient condition. So a sufficient but not necessary condition, that ft has a Fourier transform is that Fourier transform is that it be completely PE. So I'm going to write, I have done some mistake here. So basically I am going to write the completely little integrable in the sense that this particular integral from minus infinity to plus infinity and absolute value of ft dt, that is less than infinity. So if this kind of condition will satisfy, then I can assume that there exists some kind of Fourier transform, and this is just an sufficient condition, and it is possible to show that the Fourier transform of unit ramp function, that is TUT, does not exist because the function does not satisfy the condition above. So you can just write it, because sometimes it is better to know that, means what kind of function we have no Fourier transform or something. Then so I am going to write in form of remark that the Fourier transform of the unit ramp function, and unit ramp function means those function which is going to increase with time. So I am going to represent like this: does not exist, and we can tell that one of the reason that this condition is not satisfied, because the if that condition is satisfied, then it is one can become definite about that there always exists some kind of Fourier transform. The function does not satisfy the condition above. Again, we have to recheck it, means because this is just a sufficient condition. So once this condition is not satisfied, the partially we can assume that due to the violation of this condition, that we have no doubt that that function have Laplace transform or not, but I am not sure because that is not the necessary condition. So again we have to check it, and so and after that means after checking that, one can become confirmed that this particular function, and if you do that kind of exercise particularly for this function, then it is possible to show that this particular function doesn't have this kind of the property. So this is the theoretical part of the Fourier transform. So what we have observed that Fourier transform one can able to get from the Fourier series provided t is tending towards infinity, keeping in that phenomena in our mind, and we have seen that why this kind of assumption is reasonable. After that, we have defined the definition of Fourier transform, and main motivation of this definition is that we have to allow the non-periodic non-sinusoidal function in the analysis of the linear system, because if I have some kind of periodic function and even if that is non-sinusoidal, then I am able to apply the phasor analysis by transforming it to the series of the sinusoidal function. But if it is non-periodic, then I cannot able to apply. Due to that reason, we have to again search for the different alternative, and using Fourier transform it is possible. Now let us see the some example, and in order to save the time I have solved the almost all example, and after that I will just tell you the discussion that how to solve the problem involving with the Fourier transform. So suppose that if I have signal, so this is impulse signal, and if you see the definition of impulse signal, then if I represent dt, it means that I have signal is only going to present at this particular instant at t equal to 0, and beyond that this is always 0. So this is the representation of the impulse function, and if you do t minus t0, then I have forward shifting. So basically at this point I have similar kind of behavior, and this point is t equal to t0. Now I have to calculate the Fourier transform of that. So I am going to apply the formula, and in place of the function I am going to put this, and after that I have to put e power minus j omega t, and I have already told you that it is not difficult to remember. Just you can put e power minus st, and in place of s sigma plus j omega you can just substitute sigma equal to 0, then you are able to recover this. And after that it is possible to solve this integral, and this is improper integral from minus infinity to plus infinity, but value of this function delta t minus t0 is only able to occur at t equal to t0. So just you can substitute here, and after that everywhere value of this integral is 0. So due to that reason we will get this. And if you substitute the special case, when a special case, if you assume t0 equal to 0, then you can see that after substituting t0 equal to 0, I am able to see that Fourier transform of the impulse function is nothing but 1. Means if you plot this, it means that, because I have already told you that whenever we are calculating the Fourier transform, at that time we have some kind of complex quantity, and whenever we have complex quantity I have phase as well as I have amplitude. But luckily here I will only get the real quantity, so magnitude of the spectrum remains the same or remains the constant for all the frequency. That is the interpretation of the Laplace transform of the impulse function. But this is not the case if you are shifted the impulse function by t0. You can see that at that time I have some different value. It might possible that if I will calculate the amplitude here, then that is unity and that remains the same. So you have to do for that you have to do the separate exercise. So I leave that exercise. Now let us come to the second signal. So second signal here is I have to calculate the Fourier transform of some exponential function. So let us see this. So second one, this is the second one. So I have to calculate the Fourier transform of e power j omega 0 t. So in order to do that, but I have to start in little bit differently. So what I am assuming that if I have some kind of impulse, because we already understand that what is the Fourier transform of the impulse function. So from their point I am going to take some help, and I am assuming that f omega is the Fourier transform, and that is represented like delta function at omega minus omega 0. So now delta function in the frequency domain, and that I have represented like this. So in order to find dft, so now I have Fourier transform. So we know that how to generate the function from the Fourier transform, and using this I can generate it. And so I have used the standard formula, and after that, by the shifting property of the impulse function, you can able to see that ft is nothing but I am able to generate like this. Now I have already told you that always Fourier series and Fourier transform are in somehow lying in the pair. So if you see f omega and ft, then it is possible to show that from the above integral that this function in frequency domain, if you do the Fourier transform, then, or if you have this kind of signal e power j and omega 0, so if you do inverse Fourier transform of this, then you are able to get this. So from there I can tell that this is the inverse Fourier transform like this. So this is little bit complicated way. Now let us see the alternative way, means how to calculate the Fourier transform of some function like e power j omega t. So for that, now I am going to take the impulse function delta t, so that is not shifted one, so that is inverse Fourier transform of d1, because what we have seen that Fourier transform of delta function is 1, and after that again I will calculate the inverse Fourier transform. And inverse Fourier transform, if you solve this, then it is possible to show that this is nothing but one can write like this. Here what we are going to do, we are just going to interchange the variable. So in place of omega I am going to substitute t, and in place of t I am going to substitute the omegas. Then also this whole functions remains the same. So by using that property, it is possible to write like this. So I am just changing, and after changing this, you can see that the Fourier transform of e power j omega t, I can also able to write like this: f e power j omega 0 t and e power minus j omega 0 t, and that can be represented like this. So that is nothing but I can write like this. So in this way I am able to talk that impulse function, and since I know that impulse function is the even function, so in this way I am able to calculate the Fourier transform of e power j omega t and e power minus j omega t. So here thus just initially I have, if this is plus then this is minus, and this, if this is minus then this is plus. And by putting omega 0 equal to 0, you are again able to confirm that same relation I am able to get. In this way I can generate the Fourier transform of the e power j omega t. So this is a little bit involved process. Now if you understood the previous one, then I am able to calculate the Fourier transform of cos omega t and sin omega t also. Just you can express cos omega t using Euler identity in this form, and after expressing this you can apply the above result, and you are able to get this kind of response. Now you can see that if you plot the magnitude spectrum, then I have only two places I have frequency, otherwise everywhere that is 0. So this is the amplitude spectrum of the cos omega t. So in this way we will get the Fourier transform. Now suppose that I have another non-periodic signal, and here that is some kind of gate pulse. You can assume this, that is live from minus t tau by 2 to t by 2, and otherwise it is 0. Now this is also called rectangular pulse, and here width is tau and height is a. And if you have to calculate the Fourier transform, again you have to just do this kind of simplification, and this is pretty easy, so I am not going to discuss again, because this pulse is going to lie from tau by 2 to tau by 2. So even if you are doing integral from minus infinity to plus infinity, you are able to generate this kind of integral, and after solving this integral you are able to get this kind of number 80. And sinc function, you are in previous class we have already seen that what is meaning of sin c function. So same way, now if you fix the amplitude a equal to 10 and tau equal to 2, so in order to show the behavior I have taken this value, but you can arbitrary value, but you can take any other value. So this function f omega is nothing but that looks like this, and sin c plot I have already seen, so that is looks like this. So in this way I can calculate the Fourier transform of the this gate pulse or rectangular pulse. Suppose that if I have exponential function, because we have already, when I have started the lecture at that time I have told you that this is the one of the most important example where I cannot apply the Fourier series, but I can apply the Fourier transform. So actually what I have done, I have switched on this exponential function, so decaying exponential function at t greater than 0, and after that I have to calculate the Fourier transform. Again I am going to apply the standard formula, and from the standard formula it is possible to show that the Fourier transform of this is nothing but I am able to generate the Fourier transform. So I have taken this, and after that I am just substituting this function ft here, and this is part from Fourier transform. So from here you can see that I can generate this particular quantity, and after that this is exponential function. So integral is pretty easy, and after that I will put this limit 0 and infinity, and after that I will get this. And once you will get this, so now you can see that f omega is the complex quantity, and whenever you have complex quantity, then you are able to calculate the magnitude spectrum as well as the phase spectrum. So with these examples, I am going to close the today's lecture. Thank you very much.